Well, welcome to Watch the Tech. I am your host, Seth Klebe. We've got the co-host here who just wants to get back to her blanket. And we are also joined today by Fancois-Xavier Hotier of Ulysse Nardin. How's
Hi,
it going?
everybody. Doing great. You can call me FX. Make it simple.
I'm definitely going to use FX because it took me a lot of mental chips to make sure I pronounce that right the first time, and there's no guarantee I can do it a second time.
Good job, though. Good job.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. There we go. Well, that was not the start to the show that I imagined, but I'm glad now I've got the dog settled. I've got you here. I think it took us a solid 3 months to plan this and finally make it work with our schedules.
True. I mean, I've been traveling it's an excuse, but I've been traveling. I think since I came back in August from holidays in France, I've been traveling every week, every week. So now I stay in Miami for a week.
Okay, got it. So you're in Miami for the week. Obviously, Dubai Watch Week is going on. You're in Miami. Is it because you just didn't want to travel there, or is it because you're the president of Americas and they were like, no, Dubai is not America. You're staying home, FX.
I mean, now it's interesting because when I look at it, I think we should be, I say we because we have a team here. There's over 75 people that we know from the US who flew to Dubai either for the party we organized yesterday night, either to participate to the show and see novelties. So it's not anymore a local show. It's really an international show. So maybe in 2 years, the US team, you're right, should be involved. Our colleagues from Switzerland, Mathieu, Patrick, Jean-Christophe, flew to Dubai, and it was really their show. It's a launch of a new watch. And in the US, I can tell you, not only we are busy, but yesterday we've been very busy. So to put this conversation in time, yesterday we released a new watch called the Freak, a partnership and collaboration with Urwerk. And yesterday, I've been just busy receiving messages, Instagram, WhatsApp, email, phone calls, every type of channel, just to get access to the watch. It's a huge success. So we've been busy yesterday.
Perfect. And we're about to talk about that. You're officially making me skip ahead, which I love. I've got to say first, though, I know that Ulysse Nardin throws a hell of a party because I had Ben from Ben's Watches on this show early on, and he had just come back from one of the watch shows, and I was like, which party was the best one? And without skipping a beat, he was like, Ulysse Nardin know how to party.
Yes, we do.
I think I made a comment about getting a little freaky with it, and that also brings us to the watch that I've got on the wrist today.
Oh, what do you have today?
What I have today, courtesy of you, is this incredible piece of art. The Freak Ops, I believe, is what it's called.
The Freak One Ops. That's correct.
The Freak One Ops. This, oh my God. So I took it out of the box yesterday. Also, just shout out to the travel case. It's so compact, so nice.
I know, but it's just to send it. It's it's not the real box, which is of course really well designed.
Right. But yeah, I loved that. And then I actually, for the first time ever, I opened this. Usually I record it in silence, or I don't even record the first time I open it, and then I'll go and do it. Because really, I'm selfish. Watches are for me. But I decided last night I would do an Instagram live to open this. So there were 5 people in there when I finally took it out and was just showing it off.
It's a great piece. So this watch, you get the idea of ops, sounds like special ops. There is a little bit of a military Green Beret type of vibe with the watch. And it's an animation, if you want, of have it, of the Freak One. This one who won the GPHG iconic award in 2023, which is one of my favorites because of the contrast it gives between gold and the black titanium. So it's basically the same watch with this ops touch which I find very cool personally.
It is. And like I'm the last person to want to wear something like army or like camo, but it has just enough touch where it's not in the way or like punching you in the face, but the green dial as well, that olive, that deep olive green that also really radiates nicely, like almost like a very light sunburst. It's chef's kiss. And I mean, the last thing that I'll say before I just get this back on the wrist, because I'm going to keep this on here as long as I can until I have to return it. But the bezel is so cool because it doesn't follow a standard polish or uniform pattern. It looks like it's just carved carbon, almost like it's totally abstract. And I really love that touch. I love the uniformity of the dial and the hands, and then the bezel is like, let's have a little fun with it.
I'm glad that you see the tech uh, within the watch. I mean, the watch, as a freak, brought silicon to the industry. I think that's why you like it, and that's why I chose it for you, for the connection between this watch and watch the tech. But when you look at the freak, the way you described it, you watch the tech. The gear train, you see the silicon parts being colored. You see that there is no hands, there's no dial, there's no crown. In the back of the watch, you have the grinder, which is our proprietary, patented self-winding system using, again, some very special materials that we don't share. It's a secret within the company. So it's a lot of tech in a freak.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it really is the perfect like watch the tech watch. So you picked really well for me. The loom is also great. I closed myself in a closet to check that out like a weirdo, and I loved every moment of it. And then also the last thing I'll say is how the brand name is so delicate on the hour wheel, and how that rotates also is just fun too, and
I
I
mean,
love it.
it's our watch, so of course we want to say Ulysse Nardin on the watch. Having said that, this watch is so recognizable. Some people will say so polarizing. That we don't need a logo. People know
Right.
it's a freak. If you know about watches, if you know, you know. The logo is not so important. And having it so small, I think it participates to the good look of the piece.
I agree. I'm not a big logo fan. It's the right touch, and yes, you can definitely recognize one of these without the logo. That is for sure.
And you can see how we love to play with the freak. I mean, the freak is a concept. So, I mean, this is like a limited run of sweaters we did for the team. We just love to play with being freaky with the freak.
Yeah, that's a sweater I would love to wear to Christmas with my new fiance's family, and just not give any context and just see what happens.
Oh, are you saying she's a freak or something?
Who's to say? Who's to know?
Okay, next topic.
Anyways, next question. So we've got to talk about the U Work Freak that dropped yesterday. So I feel very lucky that we're having this conversation. And I want you to tell me about the watch. But first, what I'd actually really like you to tell me about FX is, how did this partnership come to be? How did these two different, definitely avant-garde and innovative brands, but how did that even happen? Where did that start? I'm fascinated.
Yes, so it's the industry is small and plenty of great people with great ideas, great creativity. Michael Tay, our business partner in Singapore, if I remember the story, I've been told by my colleagues, they had this dinner in Singapore. Patrick Prugno, owner of Ulysse Nardin and Gérard Perregaux, I was having a dinner. Martin Fry from Urwerk was there, and Michael Tay was saying like, guys, you should work together. And they had a conversation about, I would say, the concept of Urwerk and Ulysse Nardin. And it became a technical conversation between the engineers and the master watchmakers. Jean-Christophe Sabatier continued the conversation with Felix Baumgarten, and both of them moved the conversation, the idea, into design. And if you look at the watch, I wear it today. I'll be happy to show it. When you think about the watch, you think about The concept, you think about the technology and the architecture. So if I want to make it short, Seth, the concept is Ulysse Nardin with a freak, like Uhrwerk. At the time, we talk about like 25 years ago, they brought a new way to create watches, to display time. The freak and Uhrwerk, they are known for showing the time the other way. So that's the concept. We really led this new trend of super watches. Think about MB&F, Richard Mille, De Bethune, etc. But at the very, very beginning, you have the freak and you have Uhrwerk. So that's the concept. The architecture it's a freak, but it's also an Uhrwerk. The wandering hours, the 3 hour carousel. So it's both watches. So the guys had to work on what could be the architecture of a new watch, this hybrid of both. And technically speaking, it is super complicated. It's not like not only like a heart surgery of taking the wandering hours and plugging it on the freak one. It's more complicated than that. We had to create a new caliber. I think there's 263 pieces in the caliber, but more than 150 are brand new parts. So it's a full new conception, taking an architecture and a concept from two different brands. And I think that's a great success.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. And you'll have to show us the watch in a second to see you taking off, which is perfect. I know there's only going to be 100, if
Yes,
that's
correct.
correct.
Yes, correct.
So this is special. It's quite limited.
That's very special. We have watches which are even more limited than that, but 100 with a watch which carries the name of two manufacturers, that's pretty big. The success is huge because really you recognize either a Uhrwerk or a freak first. I saw the freak immediately because it's exactly the case of the watch you have. So
Right.
imagine the freak one, exactly. So you recognize, like in a freak, the locker. If you open the locker and you turn the bezel, then you change time. So you change time this way. It's already pretty freaky. There's no crown. That's why we have this system. There's no dial because in this case, you have the wandering hours from Uhrwerk. So it's not a proper dial. It's a satellite hour system. So when time is passing by or when you want to change time, you have rotating disc indicating the hour. And when the hour with the yellow arrow here is over the minute, it gives you, of course, the hour and the minute. That's how you read time. What's
Could you bring it
amazing
up?
is...
Could you bring it up a
Oh,
little
sorry,
bit more?
sorry.
There. Oh no, you're all good. Thank you.
That's
Yes.
what's amazing. So I will try to do it again. A lot of reflection.
Yeah.
And here you will see, here, when you're going to 50 minutes, etc., you see the hour is changing on the disc.
Right.
And then you start a new cycle. So that's the magic of the watch. And in the back, you also recognize the freak with our grinder system. So it's a freak. It's an Uhrwerk. It's an hybrid of technology, creating a new caliber, working very closely for over 3 years with between both companies in order to create a new watch, which is very loyal to what Uhrwerk is about and very loyal to what the freak is about. And again, it's our first collab with a watch company in 179 years. So we wanted to do it very right. And Uhrwerk, again, is the best partner for such a crazy project.
Oh, I am sure. I bet the if you use like Slack or Microsoft Teams to talk between teams, there's probably like millions of messages going back and forth between them working on this watch. Millions and millions, probably. Man, I just love the collaboration into creating something like this. Yeah, especially it being the first collab.
And I understand that the teams really had a lot of pleasure, a lot of fun, a lot of ideas. It's really this type of projects. This watch makes Uhrwerk and Ulysse Nardin better in a way. So it's an improved, augmented perception of what we've been doing before. So it's very cool, a very cool one.
Yes, definitely. I like it very, very much so. And so it comes on that yellow strap. Does it also have a steel that comes with, or is it's primarily
It's primary yellow strap. The
Okay.
colors comes from Urwerk, by the way. It's a
Okay.
395C Pantone color, so it's really their signature, and it reflects other colors you can see on the dial. So the look is great. You can also have it with a black strap, a ballistic style, but you can have any strap you find on the Freak one. Because
Okay.
that's a Freak one case. So
Right,
there's a
right.
lot of choice. But the look for me is like that. And that's the way it should be.
Okay. Got it. Got it. The fact that you know the specific Pantone of the yellow, that's next level shit right there. I'm impressed when people know the reference number of watches. I'm like the first to say I barely know any, even of watches of my own. But the Pantone, next level shit. And that is great that it can be adjusted with strap options if someone buys one, is one of the lucky 100 and wants to make a change. And this is me saying yellow is in fact one of my least favorite colors. So I'm now just gonna publicly admit that because I love everything else about the watch.
Yeah, I know it doesn't really. I know. I mean, we all have like sensibilities to a color or the other, but when something is amazingly executed, uh, you know, that's cool. What I love
Right.
with this project again, and I want to connect to the watch, the tech, cool logo in your back is the industry is usually seen as very kind of stiff and old school and, you know, repeating the stories of the past. If you come, and this is something we have to organize next, Seth, you come to Switzerland, you go below the mountains, and you enter into the valley of La Chaux-de-Fonds and Le Locle, and then think about Silicon Valley. You have a lot of designers, labs. You have a lot of beautiful names. You have Ulysse Nardin there. You have Cartier Hydrology, Arnaud Denson, Patek Philippe, etc. in a very, very small valley. And these people, they meet all the time. They go to the same restaurants. They talk. They work together. Some partners, some suppliers are designing incredible parts. It's really a Silicon Valley mindset, you know. So when you see Urwerk, Ulysse Nardin, two revolutionary brands, one relatively new. I think Over started in 97, more than 179 years old now, working together. That Silicon Valley vibe. And we have to kind of forget the stiff image of the industry and understand that our industry is based on innovation. The same way the industry you love so much is based on innovation.
That's such a great comparison and also the ultimate segue for me because I don't know if you're like reading my questions that I've got. But speaking of Silicon Valley, Mark Zuckerberg, arguably one of the great watch collectors of the tech world, arguably the world. Um, I'm always thinking he probably has a team that buys the watches for him. I don't know. I'd like to ask him one day. But he was recently spotted wearing a super special Ulysse Nardin. I had to look it up. I'd never seen it before. It's the Royal Sapphire Ruby watch. Only 18 were ever made in
Eight,
that
eight,
stone. Oh, only eight. Okay,
correct.
only
And
eight.
we are still making them right now. It's kind of new, in fact. It's
Wow.
coming from a design we've done before, but
Okay.
it's a different watch. It's a limited edition of 8 pieces. It also exists in some bluish color, also 8 pieces,
Right.
and it's very very rare, obviously. Uh, and yes, the story. I mean, I'm sure you will ask me how does that happen. Um, I think that Mark fell into watches after this famous wedding in India.
Right. Right.
He fell into the rabbit hole, like we all did at some point. We all have our little moment, right? And and it's been seen with other big names. Interesting, usually independent, very high tech watches. So he has a specific taste, which is great. And at some point, he heard about Ulysse Nardin. So you're right, you have people in between. I didn't meet with Mark. I would love to fly and meet the guy. Maybe that will happen. But he basically requested a few UNs. We've been contacted. We sent him 5 pieces. We sent them to his lake house on Lake Tahoe. He brought back, he kept four of them. He brought back one because I think he didn't want one of the watches was in rose gold. Didn't want the rose gold, so he has four pieces. So I don't know. It's really it's what he wears, next time. But you will see other UNs doing podcast or whatever pictures taken from him. And I think you won't be surprised with the choice because if he got this sapphire ruby, which is in a way high tech but very traditional. The three other watches he got are extremely, extremely high tech Ulysse Nardins. Like, wow, to the point.
Okay. Okay. Well, that's an awesome story. The fact to be just contacted with some curiosity and then to walk away with him choosing four watches is amazing. And good to know. Maybe he's not a rose gold guy.
Good to know.
That's an interesting factoid. Did he of these very high tech avant-garde watches? Were any of them freaks? Okay, cool.
You will see.
Yeah. Okay.
Usually we don't talk about our customers at UN. This one is just public and it's too visible, so would be ridiculous to hide anything. We don't control, his image, and we've been lucky that he's been wearing a UN. What's interesting with UN. I think you will love that. When I started 8 years ago with an office in Florida, the feeling was that the center of gravity of Ulysse Nardin was here, Florida. Many customers are in Florida. We used to have boutiques in Florida. It was really this image of a little bit old school big divers with gold and blue. This image of UN you may have heard about. And the center of gravity of Ulysse Nardin shifted west. Today, the big markets for us are Dallas, Houston, even Austin, where we don't have distribution. I see a lot of customers based in Austin and the Silicon Valley. If you think about the big names of NVIDIA, Microsoft, Meta, etc., they are our customers. Each time you order a watch or each time you buy a watch at Ulysse Nardin, it's activated through the warranty. So we see the names. So it's kind of interesting to profile a little bit. Oh, there's John. Who is this guy? So we just go on LinkedIn. The Old Freak, yesterday, the names we have, my team noticed, customer service noticed, customers are 20, 40-year-old, basically tech guys. And when you go on LinkedIn, not naming a name, but the top guy in design of Apple, bam, order the Old Freak. So there is really a shift from the center of gravity of Ulysse Nardin, from basically this market to a market of younger people, engineers, designers, tech obsessed. And I think that's very, very cool for the health of Ulysse Nardin, for the brand.
That is so cool. And I love that y'all just go on LinkedIn and look up who your customers are. I think that's so cool. It's just I don't think a lot of brands, to be honest, do something like that. So
to
that's
be
special.
honest, with the other brands, our production is super limited. By definition, our supply or sales are very limited, and we love to know our customers. Sometimes I see a name that, oh my God, I know him, or I would love to be connected. And then I will send a personal letter and say, hey, John, amazing what you've been doing with X brand. Please know that the team is a fan of your brand, your collection, whatever. If you need anything from us, keep in touch. So we have a lot of personal connections with our customers. We call them our owners, the owners, not customers.
I love that. Now, I know our time is kind of coming to a close, but I've got two things we've got to talk about before we wrap up. The first, you mentioned some big divers. I wouldn't say big, but I got my hands on your new Diver Air when your team and yourself were in Atlanta, and I've got to say, when it first released and I saw it, I immediately fell in love. I do like a diver, especially a time only diver, and obviously the way that you made it the lightest true dive watch, incredible. And then I got my hands on it and I was just like, oh yeah,
Lighter than the tennis ball.
Oh my God, it looks so cool. It is so functional. The way you can see everything, the fact that, I mean, the rotor probably weighs nothing and it is still able to power that watch. Just
So the
crazy.
rotor is made of upcycled steel. It weighs 2.7 grams, and the caliber weighs 7 grams. So it's 10 grams. But to explain, the caliber weighs 7 grams. It's the weight of a sheet of paper.
That is so incredible.
So high tech, correct.
So high tech. So I've mentioned this on the show before, but I work for a startup, and I promised myself when I joined that I would behave and not buy another watch until my particular company has a IPO, an acquisition, some kind of, major liquidity event. And I have a very short list of watches, and I will reveal that the Diver Air is absolutely on that list.
Listen, if you want one, you're welcome. You may have to wait till May next year because we are sold out. So the watch is on the wait list. But I think this watch will mark a shift in what a diver should be. Everybody has been exploring ideas on being light. Not everybody. A few companies explored ideas on being super light, using recycled materials. I think we pushed the envelope a lot further. And the idea was not to make the lightest watch. The idea was to make the lightest true diver watch. So automatic, 20 ATM, and with all the specs of a true diver watch. But also to make an incredibly shock-resistant watch. So a watch is resistant to 5000 G. So it's a watch you can take to play golf, mountain biking, horse riding, whatever the fun is yours. Before the Diver Air, I have the prototype. It's not with me right now, but I wear the prototype. Was wearing it on the weekend again. You can play tennis with it. What's amazing with the watch is that you before the Diver Air, I wear my G-Shock. If I do stuff, I go to the gym. I have a G-Shock.
Sure.
I play tennis with my G-Shock. Now I can have a high-horology, very good-looking, very resistant watch, and that's, I think, a breakthrough, if you ask me. Not only the technicality, but the use of a watch.
Right. I mean, the reality is, how many people wearing a dive watch actually dive with them? It's like no one.
Yeah.
Barely anyone. But what goes into it, and I love that a dive watch, they are just meant to be worn and used in a variety of different scenarios. And I love that you mentioned tennis. Clearly, you're a tennis player, as am I. So the next time we're in the same place, we'll bring our rackets.
Sounds fun. Yeah.
Hit some balls.
And you will wear a Diver Air, and you will see. Oh my God, it's so cool.
Perfect. Well, a last question for you before we wrap up is just a little bit of a detour. I'm always curious to know, as someone who is so deep in the watch world like yourself, like, what is another brand that you kind of like admire from afar? You like what they're doing.
I love vintage. Overall, I love history with a big H. I'm an amateur historian kind of type of guy. And in my watch collection, I've got mostly vintage watches, like a 1930 Marine Chronometer or 1916 pocket watch, etc. So to answer your question, I admire all the brands like Ferdinand Berthoud. They used to supply the French Navy in the 18th century. I think that's cool because the name still exists. For the same reason, I love Breguet. I think Vacheron Constantin is a pretty incredible manufacturer. Jaeger-LeCoultre, Girard Perregaux, all these brands which have been manufactured, Ulysse Nardin, obviously, all these manufacturers that exist for more than 170 years, continuously produced timekeeping instruments, and they are still relevant today. I mean, they've been tested through times, we have wars, economic crisis, and everything, and the name is still there.
Right, still relevant. Still ticking, no pun.
Yeah, still ticking.
Oof. God.
That's
Anyways, cool. FX, it was such a pleasure to have you on Watch the Tech today. Is there anything else that you should mention that we have not covered that you think my listeners and watchers should know?
That's a little bit personal, but there is a watch connection, of course. Ulysse Nardin is very involved with an organization called One More Wave. We even designed a watch with them. This is a watch, it's a stunning,
I've seen that.
full open work diver skeleton watch. And you can see I've got a surfboard in my back. This organization has been created by Navy SEALs. That's why you have the logo of the trident that you can find on the watch. So, Seth, if you allow me, I invite your audience to look online. One More Wave, an organization created by the SEALs, helping today veterans with surf therapy, helping disabled veterans to cope with issues like PTSD, disabilities. And Ulysse Nardin is sponsoring them. Every year we sponsor surfboards and full surfing equipment. We do fundraising for One More Wave, and it's very dear to my heart. And the team is always very involved in helping this organization. So guys, onemorewave.com. If you want to make a donation, the money goes directly to the veterans.
Amazing. That's a great call out. Thank you
Thank you.
so much. Sounds
Thank
like
you
a
for
great
that.
organization. Fantastic. Well, with that, thank you so much to everyone who is listening and watching today. Such a pleasure to have y'all here. It definitely gives me motivation to keep doing this. FX, such a pleasure to have you and take some time out of your busy schedule. So with that, please like and subscribe if you are not already. It means the world to me. And thank you so much.
Thank you all. Bye bye. Bye bye, Seth.